I wanted to produce a little bit more of an extended overview so that you could kind of understand a few more of the nuances of the tool rather than just the demo that I sent out on Friday. So I'm just going to go through each of the same things as on Friday's demo and just show a little bit more. Anyway, it starts with this. It starts with choosing your template file. I think one thing to note at the top is that this whole process is designed to work with a template file that you send that is the same for every bidder. The bidder sends back their responses in that template file. If that's not how the process works for you, then this RFP consolidation tool might not be that valuable to you. If it is how it works, great. So first, I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose the template file. I'm going to use the same template as I did for the demo on Friday. Going to map the tables. What this means is find all the tables in that template that is valuable to consolidate. And it asks you this question: select the first range. What you want to do for this is you want to produce a square or rectangle that includes all of the information that is valuable in some way, the bids and also the descriptive information. The second range, I suppose, is just the individual part, the end of the bids, I suppose. Not the bids, but in this example, it's kind of the pricing, right? So the second square would be here. Um, so this is kind of the inner box. So that, like, if you had a particular price in here, so the UK price, it would be for the UK, it would be for Europe, and it would be with this vendor title, whatever they gave that vendor title, it would be that experience level as per the customer. It would be in that domain, right? So, and every single cell in here, you could do the same thing with. Um, so that's what the inner box is trying to, like, the actual pricing. Everything outside of this is kind of descriptive information. Anyway, yeah, and then asks for a name. Um, um, what it doesn't do is it doesn't do these two columns here. You might saw it in the demo. I added missing rows. What this means is if I go to the template, again, try to account for missing rows and missing columns. So for example, this is a missing row. There's nothing to consolidate here. This is just some example text, right? There's nothing to consolidate here, and there's nothing to consolidate here, and there's nothing to consolidate here. It wants you to provide numbers as to the row versus the top. So this is 3, this is 10, this is 17, this is 24. Maybe you don't have any missing rows. That's great. Um, the form it wants is this. So number and then this little separator. Next one, map columns. Right. So for the tables that you've described, it goes through and it looks around that descriptive information, tries to find how to describe the price we had in the center, right? So it finds this column on the left and it says, is it called domain? So yes, it is called domain. Is it internal or supply? Internal being we've filled it in, supply being, they need to fill it in. This one is internal. Experience level is the same. That's internal. Vendor title is the column. It's going to be supplier though. It's yellow in this example. They have to fill in this stuff that's yellow. Then there's this question. This might be the most obscure question. Should row 1 be normalized? And what it's asking here is kind of that row 11 that we put at the top. Do you want those pieces of information to be in a column in your consolidation? So do you want it to be collapsed into a column? And the answer is yes. And then you haven't given it a name yet. There's no name for it, so you have to give it a name. Row 2 be normalized, yes, and I'm going to give it the country. And then it's asking you what the name of these cells is in the middle, right? At the moment, they don't have a name in this Excel file, right? They're just kind of middle of it all. But actually, what we're asking for is, day rates in GBP. It says up here these rates should be GBP. Day rate GBP. So that will be the name in the consolidation. And then finally, it finds this one over here, comments, and again, that's a supplier. If you get some stuff wrong or you want to change it, when you get back to here, you can change the column headers, right? This is what's going to appear in your consolidation, so you can change them a bit. If you realize you've made a mistake on whether it's internal or supplier, you can also change it here. Next step is kind of make that consolidation template. So you'll see that it has the same names at the top here as you just created, and some basic information, and then where you would find all of the pieces of information that you need to collect. So this top row, sheet name is consulting. The domain, if we just open back up this, might be a little bit specific, but this is going to produce a line in your consolidation, which is B14 to start with, which is legal, then C14, partner director, vendor title D14, whatever they write in here. It's then going to have region, which is in E11, Europe. It's then going to have country, which is UK, and it's going to have the day rate as E14, whatever's in here, and then it's going to have comments, whatever was written in K14, right? So it's taking all those disparate pieces of information, and it's going to create one line that represents everything that you need to know about this cell, and it's going to do it for all the cells in that inner range. Suppliers, I've just added some basic suppliers names. If I just, yeah, so I'm going to choose a folder, supply bids. There we go. It goes and finds 4 files. Like usually it starts like this. So it goes and finds the file names and gives them an ID. And then you can fill in all this information, the actual supply name, and all of this information on the right hand side is somewhat just for information. So I'm going to put it back. I will come back to these two because they're really important. But basically, you just fill in this table. It's empty to start with, and you press this button, and it goes into all of those supply bids and collects the bid information. It's going through them now. Comes up, says it's done, and then it's all here. So as we had before, on that top row, we had consulting, legal, partner director, Europe, UK, the day rate, and then it adds all of the supplier information. Yeah. Back to here. I actually pressed not to include these two. I don't know if you saw, but I said not to include B and D. So if we go to the consolidation now, there'll be number 1. You can see number 1. There'll be number 3. You can see number 3. There's no Patrice and there's no hello. If I just change those to yes and press the button, it'll now go through and it'll have those in as well, right? The other thing you can do is so for example, if you had your supplier Patrice sends another bid in, you can then say, don't include this one, include the other one. And if they just send in a file that's kind of fixing a silly mistake, and you just want it to be the same file, you can update. Let's say you could update Patrice's information without updating everybody else's. Right? That's what this update. So include is, do I want to include in the consolidation? Update is, when I run it this time, do I want the information to update? There we go. And then you have this flat set that you can use for whatever you want. So that's kind of the long and short of it. If you're still watching, I did actually want to just do. I did actually want to go through a. I did actually want to go through a second example. I've actually provided these examples as documents for you on the Notion. If you go through it, I'm just going to go through it again with a different example. I'm just going to show you one difference. So if I go through logistics, I did a logistics template as well. The reason I wanted to, oops, oh, what's happened there? I've just, okay, I couldn't open it because, yeah, fine. Don't worry about that. I wanted to have something that was a bit more problematic to the right, rather than having kind of, just one piece of information for each bid. This one has 2. So I just wanted to show you that. So again, I'm just choosing the big outer table. I'm finding tables right now. I'm choosing the big outer table. And then I'm choosing the inner table. This is where all the bids are. And I'm going to name the table logistics. The reason I wanted to show you this, this one has a bunch of missing rows. I don't know why I made it so horrible, but I did, just to test out this process. This one has a missing row at 4 and a missing row at 11. 4 and 11, and it has missing columns at 5. I don't want to move anything. 5, 12, and 25. 5, 12, 25. So this is where it gets a bit different. I'll go to map columns. Okay, actually, I'm just gonna stop that for a second. Go back over here. Yeah, map columns. Again, same thing. Country lane start is an internal field. Lane start is an internal field. Country lane and internal. Lane and internal. And then it's asking me whether row one should be normalized, which is this blue one. I'm like, yes, that should be normalized as shipment type. The second one, which is all these kilogram bandings, yes, I'd like that to be normalized. And then this is where it's asking three to be normalized. So you've got a lead time in days and you've got a price. And I don't want them as separate rows in my consolidations. I don't want them to be normalized. I want them on every row of my consolidation tool. So I'm going to say, no, it shouldn't be normalized. And then it's going to ask me how many columns are part of each set. So there's lead time and there's price. So there's two. Um, and what that does is these are going to be my consolidated columns now. It's going to be country lane start location, country lane end location, shipment type band, and then both of them. Yeah. So if I go to create a consolidation template, um, it's going to just consolidate those two things next to each other. So that's what it means. All this normalization and not normalization and that kind of stuff. Like sometimes you're going to have component pricing, or you're going to have things that you don't want to just turn into different rows in your consolidation. You want to keep them as separate columns, and that's kind of what it's doing. So I just wanted to show that particular nuance of the consolidation tool. Again, if I just go through this process, I can't remember how many logistics files I have. There we go. I only have 3, so I'm just going to take away that for now. There we go. It's empty, and then I'm going to consolidate the bits. There we go. Just to finish the process. And then, as you can see, so for France, Bordeaux to Munich. Why have I hidden something here? Anyway, France, Bordeaux to Germany, Munich. Shipment type this, lead time, price, and shipment next to each other. So that's what all the normalization stuff matters. So that was a quick logistics example just to finish this off. I hope you enjoy it. As I said in the notes, if you find any issues or find any things that confuse you, just let me know. If you have any ideas on improvements and things like that, just let me know. I hope it's useful, and I've had a lot of fun making it, and I'll continue to improve it. So until next time.